With us now, NBC's Mike Memley from Washington and Alan Orr, immigration attorney and former president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. So, Mike, what does the end of the national health emergency in May have to do with Title 42?
Well, Jose, yesterday, right around this time, you and I were talking about what the White House's decision to end the public health emergency means for, people's ability to get the treatment and prevention measures from COVID, either for free or heavily discounted, which was the policy under those emergencies. Well, there has been a lot of uncertainty about what it actually means for Title 42, which, as you say, is a border and an immigration policy tied to a public health emergency. So there are two triggers for ending Title 42. The first is whether and when the CDC determines that it's no longer necessary. That was what happened in the last few months, which led to the legal fight that has worked its way all the way up to the Supreme Court that has let Title 42 in place. But the second trigger for ending it is the end of this public health emergency, which the White House now says will come on May 11th. So the White House officials are saying that because of the end of that designation, it could, and I emphasize could, lead to Title 42 ending before the Supreme Court makes its final decision. But they add that this is uncertainty that the Justice Department itself needs to help clarify. One thing that's important to note, Jose, is that these new asylum policies that we've been talking about recently announced by the president himself, these parole policies that both open new pathways for migration from 4 specific countries, but also allow U.S. officials to turn those migrants who come to the border into Mexico, 30,000 a month from each country, those will remain in place regardless of what happens in Title 42. And that's because the White House says the legal authority from that for those decisions will move from Title 42 to a different migration policy, Title 8. So the White House emphasizes that they are still doing everything they can to transition away from Title 42, but that does mean that some of these policies will remain in place as they work to rebuild this legal immigration system in the U.S.
Mike Memley, I thank you so very much. So, Alan, now it's very clear that Title 42, which is, as Mike says, a health-related policy, has been utilized as an immigration policy. I want to, Alan, play for you some of what DHS Secretary Mayorkas told me about where Title 42 stands now.
This has been framed as an expansion of Title 42. We have tried to end Title 42, which is not an immigration authority. It is a public health authority. We were blocked from doing so by the courts. We tried to use our immigration authorities under Title 8 of the United States Code.
So, Alan, what exactly is this?
Right. So I can help the Justice Department with this very easily and make the resolve for them. This government needs to take the position that Title 42 ends because the emergency procedures are going away, and all the Republican Party stands behind that going away. So if Mayorkas is true on his word, which I believe him to be as an immigrant himself from Cuba, then end the program and start enforcing our immigration laws on the books. If Congress would like to have something like a Title 42 in place, have them pass the law and let it stand through the judicial method and also the Supreme Court's review.
And so the administration insists it is expanding asylum avenues for people. You have said that there is a de facto travel ban. What did you mean by that, Alan?
Right. So what the government is saying is that it's not an exact travel ban in the same way that the president used it, but it is keeping individuals from applying for asylum, which is legal under the law right now. Those individuals who were robbed in Florida on boats are able to apply for asylum at the entry, same people who walked miles. But with this program, they're saying if they were to arrive in this fashion, that they would not be allowed to apply for asylum. So that is a transit ban. That, in effect, is a ban. In addition to that, the new apps are not in all the languages that are available to people indigenous of this region in just North America. And so it sort of harms Black and brown people. And as we start to celebrate Black history in this country, we need to understand the importance that Black immigrants include. And just yesterday, we sent 2 planes to Haiti, removing people to a continent or an island that is in just total disarray. There's no government there, and gangs have taken over the complete island.
That app, which the government is saying should be utilized by folks that are looking to request asylum, is in English and in Spanish. It's not even in Creole. And you're right. I mean, now 300 plus people were sent back to Haiti yesterday. Just over the weekend, more than 400 people were sent back to Cuba. These are people who leave a very difficult situation in their home country and risk it all to try to request asylum, and yet they are not even being given that opportunity because they don't have a financial backer that can go through this app.
That's exactly right. Yesterday, New York has sidestepped the issue that they need someone to support the app, a financial support in the United States to get here. We don't require people to stand in a burning house until the fire department arrives. So therefore, we don't need to tell immigrants to wait until help arrives to be able to leave a situation that is very detrimental to them. That's why the asylum laws exist. So there are a lot of barriers, including having a phone and the internet. There are places in the United States where people don't have wideband internet, which is part of this restoration of America. So why do we assume that immigrants have quality Wi-Fi in places where we know they don't, or even a phone?
These are such important issues. Eleanor, I thank you so much for bringing them up, and I thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.